we were doing Under the Skin for Wholehearted. So let's definitely get back into that scenario.
Yeah.
If like, I would even instruct you to go as far as closing your eyes real quick. So, close your eyes. Imagine you're in a library. You're not in a band. Again, we're depersonalizing you. You're no longer Joseph Coleman. Okay. You're in a library and you happen to see the album cover, the EP cover for Wholehearted. You're like, whoa, it's a weird dude. He has like a freaking rose, a lotus sprouting out of his head. There's lots of pink. It says Wholehearted on the bottom. Maybe the Surefire logo is in the bottom right-hand corner. Maybe it's sideways like we do a lot of album and EP covers these days. But you turn over this book. And there's a small chunk of passage that's supposed to almost seduce you as a bookworm into reading the book in the first place. What would the text say on the back to you, and why?
So that record was about the 5 years of therapy that I went through. It talks a lot about the attempted suicide that I had when I was 19. It talks about cutting my family off. It talks about cutting off friends. And then the end of the record is basically finding acceptance. So if you want me to go through the songs, I don't mind doing that. I'm more than happy to.
Absolutely.
So,
I would love for you to do
that. Slow Bleed, for example.
All right. Of course, this is the wrong audio channel. 1 second, folks. It's too early for everybody else to be hearing Surefire. There we go. No shuffle. Boom. Now I'll be listening to an EP front to back in the right order for the first time in forever. Let's get it.
The influence for the actual lyric, not the lyrics, but the flow of the lyrics was Alpha Wolf, the song Sub-Zero, the "You're just a pussy with a black hoodie." I probably butchered the lyrics. I pushed pussy in a black hoodie. But I really liked that like da 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 kind of like aggressive vocal, which is why the melody for that song was da 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 da. Like it was just really like really sembly, really like da, really harsh. Slow Bleed basically talks about how I was putting myself in bad situations, so addicted to the pain inflicted to myself. The warmth I'm feeling is nothing but caustic. So that first part of the song is how I realize how I'm putting myself into bad situations and how I don't feel love. I feel nothing but negative emotions out of it. And it's an intro track, so there's not really a lot of depth into the lyrics on this one. The end of the song, but it's okay in the end. I found a way to deal with the pain. I'll throw away my innocence and cast aside the grief. Wasted my life trying to forget everything you've said and done. I feel numb. Pretty self-explanatory with those lyrics. I like to write some of my lyrics in tongues, but also not, if that makes sense. Like I like to have stuff that is really like highbrow, but also stuff that's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Scars is a good example. Yeah, Scars. Is a good example of what that is. That's the second song on that record. Freeing myself from the voices that control me, but no matter how loud I scream, they never stop. It was a lot of arguing in the household that I grew up in, and it was a lot of just raising your voice to try and win an argument. Like if I talk louder, if I scream louder, maybe I'll be right. So that's what that line is about. It's basically about people trying to just be more mean to push themselves into a feeling of self-righteousness. Tell me please there's a form of relief. Tell me please there is a means to an end. Pretty self-explanatory. Regardless of how deep I cut, the voices never stop. Pretty self-explanatory. And then I really liked writing the chorus. I don't know if you would really call it a chorus, the bridge. I don't know, the piece of the song, the cutting and carving deeper to find that missing piece of me, trying to find, or dude, I can't even remember my own lyrics. Jesus fuck. Trying to hide, but they always find me. Basically talking about how I have emotions that I'm trying to repress, but no matter how hard I try and push them down, they forcibly resurface themselves.
Right.
The worst part of me is the reflection of you clawing out the skin of my eyes for some relief, trying to let go, but they'll never fucking leave me alone. Also pretty self-explanatory. And then I tried to cut it out. It buried deep and rotted my soul. No matter how deep I try to cut, I can never let go. Like a parasite, you took everything that I loved. No matter how deep I try to cut, I can never let go. Basically trying to sever myself from these emotions and not being able to, because no matter how hard I would push them away or try and shove them down or get them out, they would resurface themselves just worse than they did before.
Right.
So that's basically, that song is basically talking about shutting out negativity and it resurfacing just 10 times worse, just multiplying itself over. Suppressive Thoughts, actually no, I believe Heartsick is next on that record.
Heartsick is next, yeah. Heartsick.
Yes, Heartsick is next on that record. I've talked about this song so fucking much. So Heartsick, this was the first song I've actually ever like lyrically written, like that I've actually had recorded, put onto a song. So it's very basic in the sense of like what the actual lyrics are. So there honestly isn't much depth into this song per se. It's more so just looking for comfort in someone, not being able to get it. So that's what the chorus is. So let's all pretend you'll be in the end someone I've loved. I've suffered enough. So please tell me there is a way to free me of the burden that I carry onto a withered heart. I hate these songs.
Well, bro, like one thing very important, like for any artist, and I like, not that I've released an EP or an album for that matter, but like, sure, you've probably battered and butchered and like had to play these songs so many times, but this is part of the legacy, man. This is part of your story.
No, 100%. Yeah, so that song is pretty self-explanatory. It's just not getting the love that you want from the people that you love, and always feeling a sense of apathy rather than accomplishment out of the people that you love.
Real.
Suppressing Thoughts is a really cool one. I really liked writing this one. This was the first song that we ever had a feature on, which was Dylan Greenhill from Vapid Soul. They're really cool, by the way. Check them out. They are from Milwaukee, Wisconsin as well. They're very new core, so if you really like kind of stuff, you would really fucking like them. So it's all coming back to me, the searing pain burning through my chest. My sanity starts to dissipate. I'm overcome by sickness again. So those lines are talking about how a lot of these songs have a very reoccurring theme, by the way. They're bad emotions that I've had. They're bad experiences that I've had that I've tried to shove away that have just resurfaced themselves. Suppressive Thoughts is probably my favorite song to perform on this record, honestly, live. I think it's either this or it's Withered Memento, and Withered Memento is my favorite song. We'll get into that in a second here because I fucking love that song.
There you go.
So, Suppressive Thoughts is talking about someone in my life who used to... Do you want me to pause for a second?
No, you're good. You're good. Keep going.
Okay. Suppressive Thoughts basically talks about someone in my life that would tell me what I could and couldn't do with myself.
Sorry. I had to stretch a little bit.
No, you're good. You got to stretch those glutes. I get it. But no, suppressive thoughts is talking about someone in my life that used to try and like control and shape who I was as a person. So
worst.
suppressed my thoughts, but you failed to cauterize the wound. So it's basically like someone tearing their way into your own personality and not stitching their way back in or stitching their way out. Basically just leaving an open wound after the damage that they caused. What kind of candle is that?
It is a Tempest. It's like a Baphomet Tempest tarot card one.
Wonderful.
It smells great. It is blackberry, wild plum, and pawpaw. Continue.
My favorite line in that song probably is, and by the way, anytime we have a vocal feature, I don't write lyrics for it. I firmly believe that if you're going to have someone feature, and it's not even for the sense of, oh, they're lazy, they're going to track. It's not about that at all to me. If you're going to hire someone or commission someone, whatever word you want to use for it, to feature in your song, you want them to play to their strong cards. That is the whole reason you have them feature. It's not to have them recycle words that you write out for them, because you will never be able to write in their style, which is what you are doing. You are commissioning them to work with you to write in their style to your music. So like I said, I can't speak on the features on these songs, but I can speak on the other stuff because I didn't write the features on these songs.
Right.
I really like the pre-Dylan part where there's nowhere left for me to go. I'm tormented by my shadow of the past I left behind. Pretty self-explanatory. And I keep saying that a lot. I feel really bad. I'm doing a really shitty job talking about my own music.
Bro. Fuck. You're fine. You do you.
I promise that there's
do it.
But I promise there's more depth to these songs than I am currently talking about. When we released our record, actually, like when I designed our website, we had an entire like. Hold on. Pause.
That's
for a
what
second.
you did. Yeah, you're good. You got shit on public domain, bro.
Dude, I got even better.
What do you got? Bring it to the table, Mr. Coleman.
Okay. So, vinyls, obviously, right? But hold on.
Yes.
On the back of our vinyls, it talks about each of our songs and what I had on there. So,
the pressure's on.
Okay, let's talk about suppressive thoughts. At the end of the day, you're just another signal. Suppressive thoughts is about being told how to think, act, and talk. It's a story of an internal battle. When I had started to move away from family and move away from a toxic past, I felt that no matter how hard I tried to distance myself, old memories of being yelled at, hearing arguing, and flashbacks of violence would always find its way back to me. And that's what the premise of suppressive thoughts is. And I'm only going to use that for this one because I'm going to talk in more depth about these next two songs because I love these next two songs.
Yeah, cool. Let's do it.
So, Withered Memento is the first song that I have written that has made me like actually cry. Like I have put more emotion into this song than literally any other song on this record, and it makes me sad that this is our least streamed song. Like I swear to God, this is our least streamed song out of our whole discography. It's my favorite song, but that's why, you know, it's a sleeper song, you know. So I am going to touch base on the chorus on this song because I think that is the most important part of this song, because a lot of it is just this song goes more into depth about my attempted suicide, and mind you, when I did do that, it wasn't with a gun, it was with a rope. So
Oh shit.
the lyrics are a little not twisted, but like they're more dramatic in what they were. So the lyrics leading up to the fun part, another sleepless night, living life in dread. The only way to stop it is a bullet to the head. Tell myself there wouldn't be another way to alleviate the pain. Tell myself that if I pull the trigger, I would feel nothing. And so from this point forward, I put more work into this song than I think any other song on this record, except for the next song on the record.
Okay.
I really wanted to try and capture what my depiction of what boundaries riding would be. So less about raw anger and emotion and more so about the actual usage of words and more so of the flow. So a lot of the song up to this point is talking about fuck you, I hate you, I'm suicidal. The only way to stop it is putting a bullet in my head. But leading up to the chorus, I really, really, really fucking like, and obviously I'm biased because I wrote it, but the growing sense of guilt that's building as the light is taken from me and my mind is filled with my regret. I found serenity digging through my affinity. Lying through your teeth again. I've listened to these songs a few times. I don't know if you can tell. But the chorus, the reason that this song was so emotional for me is at the time when I wrote this is when I had first like really cut my family off. When I had basically told my grandparents, like, I don't want to see you guys anymore. Stay out of my life. I don't want you around me anymore. And that for the most part is true. Like, I haven't seen my actual family in 3-4 years now, I want to say. So like I'm very big on sticking to my word when it comes to things, and it's one of the reasons like when I make decisions, like I try to think a lot about it before I do. So it wasn't easy for me to do by any means because, you know, I didn't have very many friends growing up. My family was really all I had. So I basically took the only thing that I had growing up and just went, you know? But the chorus, I could talk about this chorus for hours. I'm going to summarize it into like 5 or 10 minutes for you though.
Okay.
So sifting through the sands of time to isolate the good in you. Every time I'd try to stitch the wound, I'd lose another piece of you. So this was about my grandma, actually. And like, because my grandpa and my sister used to argue a lot growing up. And, you know, my grandma would argue a lot. All of it. It was just a very, very hostile household. And the first part of this chorus talks about how every time that I would bring up to my grandma about how I felt about things that were being said, or how I felt about, you know, how we were treating each other, it felt like our connection just got thinner and thinner and thinner. Which is why every time I try to stitch the wound, I'd lose another piece of you, because every time I would try and like bridge that gap, it felt like we just we spaced further and further apart. And it just, the writing that Cameron did with the synth in the background, with the guitar work as well, it was just really big and emotional, and I wanted to make sure that I put the right kind of care into it. That way it didn't just feel like a typical chorus. And I know a lot of people, you know, everyone has their own interpretation of music and what lyrics and stuff mean. And I know that for the most part, a lot of people will never like really understand the emotional weight behind the stuff that I write. But especially in our new stuff, like there's a song on our second EP called Vicious Loop. And I think I've put more heart into that song than I did Withered, and I can say that with pretty good certainty, because like the chorus in that song is God fuck, I gotta think for a second.
You're good.
We're talking about so many different songs right now. I count down the time, waiting for the day that I can find my way back to you. I can't remember your face. I don't remember your voice. I hope that we meet again before the end. Your absence left a hole because my world grew so fucking cold without you by my side. We came to terms with the outcome we share. I feel that we were put here just to suffer. Those are the lyrics that I have for Vicious, and a lot of our EP, our second EP, is much deeper from a writing standpoint than this first one, which is why I'm very excited for it, because I feel that this next record does a better job of diving deeper into trauma than the first one does, because the first one I was still learning how to write. I was learning how to flow stuff properly. I was learning how to actually put pen to paper that made sense. And I feel that with the time that we've been as a group and the time that we've spent writing with each other, I feel like we're finally at a point where we are all playing what we really think our art should be, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, it feels like it's not just music anymore. It feels like it's an extension of ourselves. And I know that sounds it is really deep. I don't want to say it sounds really deep. It is really deep. And when you get into a band where you feel that you are writing together like that, it becomes
different.
such, dude, I swear to God, like, this band has become such a big moral and emotional support for me, because not only do I have my own guys that I can talk to, but the people that I've met through this, the people that support me, that I support, I wouldn't have that if we didn't put out that first EP, if we didn't stick it out and bite the bullet through the rough times and work through it. So if you're ever caught on whether you do or don't want to keep going, it's 100% worth it to keep going.
Yes.
It there are always going to be bad times. There are going to be times where you feel like you're not progressing, like I said earlier in the podcast, like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago at this point. Doesn't feel like it though. I've genuinely, it's been a while since I've had someone actually like pick my brain like this, because like I don't talk to a lot of people, and that's kind of by choice. It doesn't have to do with trust, or it doesn't have to do with me not wanting to open myself. I get so like, you were talking before about people only being in your life for music. Anytime someone hits me up now, it's regarding music. It's like, hey, check out my band, check out my music. And like, a lot of people don't hit me up with genuine conversation anymore. And I don't have a problem with that by any means. I love talking to people about their music and their art, and I never want people to stop sending me stuff, because I love listening to it.
But when that's all you're messaging,
yes, it is very exhausting.
Like, what the fuck are you here in my chat for? You're just promoting your Facebook page. Honestly, like, I am already at that point to where I draw that line in the sand. It's like, okay, if you're getting in contact with me, I have so much stuff that I do already, and so much stuff that I plan to do. Are you here in chat to send me a link to your fucking Facebook page? Do you want to jump on my podcast? Do you want to get me featured on your album or EP or single for free? Because I do that. I'm going to be doing that in the near future. Do you want to do some sort of groundbreaking collaboration and create something with me that I've never done before? Or do you want to be my friend for nothing having anything to do with any of that, because of maybe me loving Silent Planet and worshiping them borderline as much as I do? What the fuck are you in my DMs for? Are you a spam bot who's attempting to hook up with me, and I know you're just fucking Mohammed behind the screen? What the fuck are you in my DMs for? I've gotten to that point now to where I'm like, yo, dude, honestly, I don't give a fuck about your Facebook page, because I already liked 60 this week. Or, I don't know. Like, of course, there is networking, but sometimes you got to draw a line in the sand and just be like, no, you know what, fuck off. Like, you're not in here for anything else other than to promote your own shit. And I hate that.
This sounds this sounds terrible to say because I don't mean this by any ill intent whatsoever. Ill intent whatsoever.
Right.
But if someone adds me and they just send me a like to their band page, I typically don't check their music out. Like, the least you can do is send me a message. Like, if someone messages me like, hey, check my music out, then I will 100% always check out their music. But if someone just tags me in a comment or they just fucking add me on Facebook and send me a page, like, it's like, dude, like, you're not looking for actual looking for actual interaction. You're looking for a boost to your page.
My least favorite fucking thing is you
invite your friends to like my page.
No, not that. These fuckers have the audacity to be sending you links and they tag everybody in the group because there's that tag everybody option.
God.
They tag you for this bootleg merch and they're like, click the link below for this fucking dissected fucking band shirt. Literally every time I get tagged in one of those comments, I reply, kill yourself. Like, I reply KYS. I'm so fucking done with it, dude.
Dude,
like,
we had so on our tour with Weeping Wound coming up, we have a show at the WC Social Club in West Chicago, and a bot took the flyer for that show and threw it on a shirt and tagged everyone in the comments. And dude, it's on my wall too. Dylan Torres shared it. He's like, guys, we made it. They're putting our fucking flyers on shirts.
Oh my god. Cancer, absolute cancer. It's like, dude, get
just
the fuck out of here. It's really funny, but like, I know I'm gonna be fucking triggered when I see that at least once or twice. It's like, dude, why are you tagging actually thousands of people for this bootleg ass, probably fucking Chinese child sweatshop produced shirt that's never gonna be made, that has a fucking tour
Temu quality shirt?
Oh my god. Just, like, anyways, I'm not gonna try to be like that salty during the podcast. It's like, it's definitely.
No, you're good. I get it.
It's definitely funny to see that shit recently, but just all these new mechanics that make being a musician and being an underground musician so much more fucking infuriating, despite how we're interconnecting with each other. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just hack into their main mechanics, tag everybody, and have them try to buy this bootleg shirt. I'm like, actually kill yourself. I know you're not fucking Sarah. You're probably Sarah 543254325433. I'm like, fucking die.
Are you an EXE or are you a .LUA? Which one are you?
Exactly. But let's definitely refocus a little bit. So I mean, we were talking about suppressive thoughts, right? We were still talking about that track.
No. We talked about Withered, or we were talking about Withered, and
okay, right. So we got into Withered.
Yeah, we kind of wrapped that one up. We talked about the chorus, talked about the ending. Reflections. So,
yes,
when we wrote this EP, I wanted it to be not really a story per se, but I wanted it to be different pieces of a puzzle that at the end made sense, I guess. I don't know. It's explaining it in words is hard, man. Fucking talking about your own music is just, it's terrible. Because you have like bias and you don't want to like come off as like, yeah, man, this shit's fucking good. It's fucking great. Reflections.
Other people do though.
No, 100%. And if you don't listen to your own, like, listen, everyone listens to their own music. And if you're not doing that, then you're a poser and you're like a fake. Actually, no, but I love saying actually.
Actually. Good shit.
But yeah, so Reflections is basically the conclusion of Holehearted. It talks about finding my peace through therapy after 5 years, and one of the lines in the song is actually, I found my peace after 5 long years. But I promise in the end, we can try to fix this. It's basically talking about how I'm not
We can do it.
I'm not opposed to trying to mend things with my grandparents, but it's also not something that I would like proactively look to do myself. Like I'm not going to be the one to like, hey, we're cool, right? You know? And it sucks because, you know, I've definitely shared my feelings about how things are between us a few times up until the CP. And I only recently started talking to my grandma very briefly again, being like, hey, how are things going? How are you doing? Just checking up, making sure they're okay. Because even if I dislike someone or hate someone, I still don't wish ill will on anyone. Like obviously, like, you know, don't eat at my table if I don't like you, but I'm not gonna like, dude, I fucking hope this person dies in a car crash. Like I don't wish that on anyone, because, you know, everyone has their own reasons for liking or disliking someone, and who am I to say what's morally right and wrong? You know, it's my own jurisdiction, I guess. But that's Wholehearted. It talks about my therapy. It talks about what I went through in that 5 years and everything leading up to Reflections. And Reflections is the conclusion. It talks about how I found acceptance and I don't have hateful feelings towards those people anymore. And I just feel melancholy. I don't feel numb. I don't feel nothing, but I don't feel hate. I don't feel anger anymore. So that's what that record is about.
Sweet. I do appreciate you providing the commentary that you did, and even some of the ADHD tangents aside, like we ended up providing the commentary necessary to conquer what is that part of the surefire discography as far as in-depth lyrical analysis via yours truly. So